What are the biggest challenges your industry faces today, and how do you think some of them can be overcome?
The biggest ones is the destigmatisation and decriminalisation that needs to happen.
Definitely, I'd say stigma.
There's so much stigma.
Discrimination is a massive one.
Being judged is a good one.
I think safety and privacy. Each state has different laws.
I think a lot of people out there think it's really easy and it's not.
Misconception. A lot of people don't really understand what I do and why I do what I do.
The world isn't ready for it yet, but they are because it's so in demand. So it's really conflicting because I'm like, why are you also against us, but you're not?
I know a lot of people in the industry are a little bit fearful to like just say, yeah, this is what I do, you know what I mean? Without having the fear of being judged, like, you know, that's a big thing we face. That's a big challenge. And it's like, how do we make it normal?
And I think people maybe just relearning boundaries and consent and understanding that we are there to do a job, but we can't share ourselves as much as they would like to, even though we have that intimate relationship with clients.
Again, you know, you go at this cliche of people in an office job as opposed to a sex worker. You know, the sex worker still may have kids to feed and bills to pay. It's the same concept as what you do is go 9 to 5. And I think the biggest challenge that you face is if you're honest, especially like I am, because, you know, my family in the UK know what I do and I'm pretty open with what I do, is you get judged instantaneously. And it's quite hard to overcome that.
Lockdowns are impacting many different people, not just sex workers, but sex workers, we don't have access to holiday pay or leave. We face huge barriers to accessing like government financial support.
And not having that support or having the ability to have access to those resources because we're seen as unequal up until now with a slowly evolving legalisation, it makes it a little bit easier. So that was a huge challenge and has always been a challenge and still is in some states in Australia where it's still illegal for sex workers to operate.
There's no unifying system. So there needs to be that. There needs to be the decriminalisation of it. So people aren't viewed as doing something illegal.
People think it is something kind of secret, dark, dirty, and there's lots of abuse and drugs. And I mean, there's always a bad side of any job, anything that you do. And I don't want to say that it's not happening, but there's also the side, like me, for example, I'm choosing to work.
For me personally, it's like when I was new in the industry, you know, you're kind of like fresh and you're trending and you're popping off a little bit. And you gotta keep being creative, especially like something like on OnlyFans, you know what I mean? Because yeah, there's always new people coming through and I'm like, what can I do to stay on top of this to make sure I have that consistent money coming through? You know what I mean? That's a challenge I face.
Sex work is becoming more of an okay thing to the general public, but it also means that there's an oversaturation of especially strippers in strip clubs, and that takes away from the money that we're making, and it takes it like people are undercutting themselves.
So the challenge the strippers are facing right now is to move from physical face-to-face work to virtual work, to like computer work.
The way we project ourselves is online now. It becomes incredibly difficult to disassociate, you know, work life and personal life.
And for example, someone like me, I'm like 31 years old. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna put naked picture on me online because I have zero intention to stay in this industry.
Always the questions I get is, why are you doing this? Do you need money that desperately? Like I've always said my whole life before I even got into this industry, if I can make at least one person smile a day, then I've achieved a goal. For me, I feel like I'm providing not necessarily like a sexual experience, but a companionship. I'm making them feel validated by listening to their feelings. I'm giving them human connection. Because sometimes they are just lonely. They just want to sit there and talk to someone. They just want to be able to go and have like a nice meal with someone. Past experience, I've had like a client who was lovely, like great guy, had a good job in IT, and all he wanted was someone to come over and play video games with him. That's it. Like, just laugh, watch movies, play video games, and that's all. He just wanted to connect with someone in his personal life.
Especially in the burlesque industry, a lot of people think of it as like this glitz and glamour, and it's always Dita Von Teese, it's always that high energy, high fashion sort of thing, but there's actually a really dirty underside to that. People say, oh, it's not stripping, it's very glamorous, and it's like, no, there's definitely, I'm taking my clothes off for your enjoyment, not because it's a not sexual thing. It's a very sexual thing. It's a highly sexualized form of dance. So go watch a show.
The challenge is that we don't have any more quality customer. People don't understand what we are trying to do. We are trying to entertain them. We are trying to give them a good time. Now the new kind of customers that are coming to the strip club are eventually a bit upset at us because we don't have sex in front of them. With them. We don't have sex with them, or we don't touch ourselves in front of them. That's why customers from the stripping industry are moving to the online industry, OnlyFans or like Pornhub or whatever. On the other hand, if you choose to stay in the sex industry for long, it might be indeed very beneficial to you to do OnlyFans and to do porn because you're building material and you're building your business. But for someone like me, like many strippers that do this for maybe just 5 years or 6 years of their life, it's just a transition. And this pure job of being a stripper in a strip club, it's kind of over for people like me. There is not much to do anymore. Like, we can't do much more anymore. Now it's more about leaving the industry because it's not financially beneficial anymore.
And I find that when people find out that we are sex workers or we work in the adult industry, there's always that undertone that it's very challenging for us from a social level. And for a lot of us, we end up having to hide the fact that we're in the industry, and it's not because we're ashamed of it, because we're passionate about what we do. And the people that succeed in this industry are the ones that are really passionate about it.
People have a certain prejudice or whatever, or they try to push their agenda. I've had doctors that I've been to in the past that I've been like, I need to get my sexual health test, these are the ones I need, and they're like, why do you need those? Why do you need these so frequently? I don't know if it's because of the healthcare system or what it is that they have to push it through in a certain way. But that's a real issue, is just being able to access what you need when you need it. Some of them are really chill about it. Like I've had good doctors in the past and ones that are just, I can go in and be like, this is what I do for work, I need to get all my tests, I need to get some Viagra and stuff like that. Like, just for professionalism, I like to go in on set with that on hand. Same with clients. Like, I don't want to walk into a booking with a woman who's gone through trauma or something like that, and the last thing they want, or that I want, is to not be able to perform for them and make that feel like it's their issue. So I'll get Viagra, I'll use Viagra, and that kind of stuff. And I know so many other, especially women, that go in to get like tests or whatever. They're like, why are you getting these every 2-3 weeks? What's going on? Like, maybe you should have less sex, or maybe you should try using protection or whatever it is. It's like, that's not what it's about.
The industry needs to be mainstreamed a bit more, which is like things like this, people being in the media such as I was, and then people just getting a bit more clued up with it.
And we're still fighting, I guess, just as much as gay guys have done over the years fighting for equality, us as workers are still fighting for equality for our career, because it's not going anywhere. Everyone has sex, everybody eats, everybody sleeps, and we're an industry that's been around for a very long time and we're sticking around. So yeah, that's the biggest challenge for us, is definitely the equality and the equal respect as being seen as a profession like every other.
Yeah, so and how could this be overcome? I don't know, by stuff like this, a documentary, people watching sex workers talk about their experience, and yeah.
I think it could be overcome with people actually willing to ask us questions and wanting to learn, instead of just assuming that we're like people that need to be rescued.
So it's really confusing to me how like the world just seems to be so against us, but I'm like, but behind closed doors, you're all interested.
Hey, my name's Daniel Dalloway. I produced this mini-series. I'd first like to give a big thank you to everybody that agreed to be interviewed for it. I couldn't have done it without your support. If you'd like to watch the uncut interviews, head on over to Patreon. Otherwise, subscribe on YouTube or follow on Instagram, whichever you prefer. And I'll see you for the next episode, which will be hopefully in a week. All right, see you later.